Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Sunday Night Lights, the place to be each and every Sunday night, where tonight we commence, after an hiatus, Season 19 of the hottest skippy action in town. Tonight we're at Okayama for Round 1. I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me once again is the chaotic one himself, Corey Steinhauser. Corey, welcome back.
It's great to be back, Alex. Absolutely amazing to see that we're finally having season 19 after a bit of a long hiatus. And we don't have a bad field assembled here for today's action.
Yeah, look, we've got 19 of the local and international skippy drivers. Number 2 here, we've got our focus on at the moment, Benjamin Smith. Ben Smith, a local ANZ club member. If memory serves, used to be a pro driver as well. Interesting to see how he goes tonight. The warm-up race saw he and Tim Hendrickson fight it out for the top spot on the dais. Matt Cox, Team Torpedoes, teammate there for Tim Hendrickson, joining us all the way from UK&I tonight, car plate number 4. Team Milo's Sammy Toykala in his unique Milo livery is joining us as well. So there's a few out there, old faces and new, Corey.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the new faces, there's some interesting names in here, like Mikhail Kakinen in the 16 car, a name that I'm not too familiar with. But, he's managed to get here into the top split. It'll be interesting to see what he can do. Borja Cortez as well. He did a 149 there in practice, managing to get a lap in before we went to qualifying. Lots of new faces, lots of old returning faces, including the 7 of Enzo Cantor. I can't remember his Thrustmaster Nirvana racer, I do believe, if memory serves correct.
Yeah, that's right. Great to see Enzo back on track here on a Sunday night, sporting a new Movano livery. It has to be said. He's got the yellow number, or the black number on the yellow background, and a pretty nice looking livery there for the Thrustmaster Movano driver. We'll start putting up our quali standings there so we can see who's doing what. Matt Cox setting the early running for Team Torpedo. After the first lap, he's done a 2:06. I'll tell you what, no, that's not going to hold muster, that one. I don't think he's actually set a time yet, because this is one of those tracks where you get a time on your outlap as well. They just don't always count, although Matt must have had a bit of an issue. Hendrickson now jumping to the top of the pops with a more reasonable 1:43.4 tonight, Corey. I expect that's a pretty quick time in quali, I have to say. Anything in the 1:42s is pretty quick around here.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. Just before this session went up, I went and had a little bit of a spin in the Skippy myself, as you know, because we're talking about it in here. And these cars are very stable on the cold tires, and it definitely does not take much to get these tires warmed up and up to operating temperature. Again, the second lap of qualifying will be the crucial one, so we have to have all eyes on the timing markers when these drivers start coming across the line. I believe Matt Cox might have just been fluffing up that first timed lap as he's coming out of the final corner now, just scraping a little bit of the Kita litter on the exit curb there, but not enough for a off track. Comes across the line, and it's only good enough for P10 with a 1:44.4, Alex.
Yeah, and he's got a fair old I rating there, 5,000's not indicative of his qualification position there. Interesting to see where he can get to from there. Kevin Henderson back with us for another season. Thanks to Kevin and team of Vascalampi. Kevin's helping out with promoting the series on the forums, and Vascalampi has taken over the scoring for us this year, sharing the love around with a bit of some of the work to keep this community effort going. A bit of excitement on a Sunday night. Great to see some of the guys stick up their hand to help out, which is very, very much appreciated. Philip Saunders is another one out there tonight from the local ANZ club. He's crossing the line now, hoping to improve on his first lap, which left him at 15th. He's jumped up to 12th, which is a good effort. Ben Snell sitting in P7 as he comes around for his final stint in quali. He's in P9. What can he do as he crosses the line? This time he has not improved. He's about 9 tenths off. I'm not sure if he had a had a 1x there to discount his lap there, Corey. Did you see anything there on the run to the line?
Well, having a look at my timing software here, Alex, his last lap there was actually nulled out. So he has indeed picked up an incident somewhere on the course. But speaking about Benjamins, let's go and have a look at the two of Benjamin Smith, currently cooling down after his time. Good enough for P2, 2/10 even off of the Tim Hendrickson time there, Alex.
Yeah, beautiful work there from Ben. I'm just waiting for Cantor to come around now. He's coming through the final series of corners here. Coming around to Michael Knight now at turn 10. Waiting to see what Cantor can do for us here. Is this his second lap? What's going on? Enzo, what can he do for us? He's coming up to the final stage of this lap, crossing the line now. Cantor must be on his warm down lap. That was a bit anticlimactic, wasn't it, Corey?
Just a little bit there, Alex, but at the end of the day, it's good to see Enzo back in action. But I think everyone who's going to put a lap in has done so, with just Borja Cortez not putting a lap here in qualifying.
Yeah, and on that note, we might, if I just clear that up, we might go and grab our grid for the first time in season 19 here. Sunday Night Lights, live and exclusive on Top Split TV at Okayama International Circuit. P1 tonight went to Team Torpedo's Tim Hendrickson with a 1:43.2, indicative of hot lap times to come. P2 went to ANZ's Benjamin Smith with a 1:43.4. Sammy Toikala for Team Milo in P3. His Finnish compatriot Timo Vescalampi sitting in P4. Enzo Cantor for Thrustmaster Mivano Racing, making a top 5 return in quali. Look for him to put pressure on throughout the race. John Scholz for ANZ and Team Milo putting it in P6. Great quali there from the 11-plated driver. John Tanko from Iberia, leading Iberian driver here tonight, has been making a bit of a splash here this week. P8 tonight is Kevin Henderson from ANZ's club. Ben Snell in P9 for Team Milo. His Team Milo compatriot Russell Clark in P10. Mikhail Kaikkonen from Finland in P11. P12 Matt Cox for Team Torpedo. Will remind me to update the overlays there. Alejandro Ramon from Iberia in P13. P14 went to Victor Martinez Burgos, also from Iberia. Philip Saunders in P13 for ANZ. Tristan Italiano from ANZ in P12. P16, P17 Nico Cadet from Iberia. 18 Francisco Panado from Iberia, and Borja Cortez didn't set a time in P19. Strength of field is 31.19. Air temp 26, and track temp, all importantly, at 27 degrees as we wait for the guys to kick off. The race is, of course, gridding. 31.19 is the soft tonight for those playing at home. Not a bad return to us. Well and truly inside the top strength of fields of the week. Hopefully, since we've had a full season off, the folks will start remembering about us.
Starts.
And thank you, Sodi, once again reminding us that the race is starting as the Flag Marshal takes his spot on the dais. Red lights means rev. Green lights mean go as we start season 19. The run down to turn 1 at Okayama for the first of 14 laps here tonight, Corey.
That's exactly right, Alex. And already Tim Hendrickson storming into the lead. It's getting a little bit busy in the mid-packs already. Lots of 2x2s still there deep in the pack. A lot of people just trying to find their own bit of ground. Got 3 Team Milo cars in a row for about 8th, 9th, and 10th. As John Scholz just goes and proves me wrong and overtakes Kevin Henderson there for what I do believe is about the 7th position. But Tim Hendrickson leading the way as we have always come accustomed to there, Alex.
Yeah, Atwood there, 2x2 still through turn 4 at Atwood on the run out of lap 1, or the mid stages lap 1 now as we come down this very long straight into the hairpin at turn 5. Best overtaking position or opportunity of the lap as we see that second pack still a 2x2. Oh, it's a big dive up the inside from that white car. Is that, I think that's Kaikkonen in the 16 car. Oh, side by side, he goes with the 15 of Ramon. Oh, there's one in the wall. Is that Cantor in the wall already? I think it is. We better go take a look at what happened there, Corey.
Yeah, I was watching that one a little bit live, Alex, and it looked like Cantor just got a little bit too hard on the go pedal, and the back tires got a little bit of the wheelies, and around he went.
Looks to be the case. Very tricky there through turn 6 at Revolver. Very easy to lose the rear end there in the early stages. The skips are a bit nicer to handle these days, but still a handful on the opening couple of laps, Corey.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. You know, cold tires are still cold tires regardless. They are a little bit more stable when they are cold, but when they come up to operating temperatures, we see another one going around.
Tanko.
It's the curse of the 5th place drivers right now. John Tanko going out of it. He's continued on now, falling back to about the 11th position there. And it seems that 5th place might be a little bit cursed here, Alex, as he gets a little bit behind him. There's a little bit of a hip and shoulder thing going on there between Philip Sanders and Francisco Pinado.
Yeah, just watching Tanko go around at turn 1. Just got a little bit outside there. The rear right or left, I should say, got on the grass, and that was all she wrote. He actually held on to it quite well, to be honest. As we jump back up the front now to live pictures, we've got Vascalampi on the tail end of this lead pack of 4, with Smith sitting right on the tail of Henriksen. The warm-up race leading into this one, and the two finish guys in Toykala and Vascalampi sitting behind the second pack now, led by ANZ's Kevin Henderson. Matt Cox locks up a brake on the entrance into Redmond there at turn 8. So they go through these final stages. Tell you what, the engines are revving a bit loud here tonight. My ears are burning. As we see someone coming into the pits. Was that Snell going? Yeah, Snell going into the pits. I don't know. His car looks pretty straight, Corey. Maybe it's just a fuel thing.
I'm not sure, Alex. That is very possible. His car looks like it's tracking all right. So possibly still on the qualifying fuel there for Ben Snell, which is unfortunate, being one of our usual front runners here in the ANZ club. But going back up to the front of the field right now, Tim Hendrickson still holding off Benjamin Smith at the moment. But Toykala and Vascalampi are still just right there behind them, Alex.
Yeah, the two Finnish drivers really just sitting in the draft there. As look at that pressure that Smith's putting all over the back of Hendrickson. Content to sit in his draft last race. Be interesting to see if he tries anything different this race as we hop on board with Smith. No, he's lifting. He's just lifting, coasting. It looks like the front 4 are just going to settle in, see if they can add to this 4.8 second gap that they've got at the moment, and run away with it, Corey.
Well, it's very possible that they will, Alex. And going back to the second pack here very quickly, Matt Cox from the UK and I just got a move up on Kevin Henderson at the hairpin, and it looks like these guys are just trying to get themselves a little bit settled here as well, possibly maybe looking at doing a little bit of leapfrogging to try and catch up to these front 4, but they're going to be hard to catch with the pace that they're setting right now, Alex.
Yeah, that's right. Cox on the tail, on the lead, I should say, of looks like about a 5 or 6 car train now with Alejandro Ramon sitting in P10 on the tail end of it. Just behind him, you've got Saunders leading Kaikkonen and Peinado in a little battle of 3 there before you hit Italiano and Cadet, who are also having their own battle there with Cantor, who's trying to come back. Obviously no damage to Cantor, just the self-spun or the self-spin as he makes the move, looking to make it stick into turn 1 is Cantor. Looks like the 7 cars got it done for Team Mivano. Before we hit Burgos, and Snell and Cortez have both been through the pits, and they're sitting in 18th and 19th respectively as we jump back up front, Corey.
Yeah, and it looks like Hendrickson and Ben Smith here are starting to open the gap up a little bit to these guys just behind. They're almost eking out to get out of that draft range here, Alex. So these front two definitely pouring on whatever pace they can get, which is no surprise because they are both over 6K in I rating, which means they're 1 and 2 plated on track, which means they're obviously the highest rated two drivers in this field right now.
Yeah, seated 1 and 2, running 1 and 2, pretty handy steerers, obviously, as they're getting around here with Smith really putting all sorts of pressure, sitting 2 tenths behind, and only just as you see the nose come right up. Look, you see he's got a bit of damage on the nose, which says to me that he's already given Hendrickson a little bit of a hurry up at some point during the race, but still sitting in P3 at the moment and trying to break away from Toikalu, some 8 tenths behind now, looking like he might be struggling to hold on, as you said, Corey.
And that's what I really do believe right now, Alex. You can see as they're coming along the long main straight here that the gap just seems to be getting slightly larger each and every single time they come out of that final corner. And we know that Toikala is a handy steerer of the Skippy, but maybe he just doesn't quite have what these guys in front of him have got to try and keep up the speed, Alex.
Well, he's sitting around the 7 to 8 tenths mark. The straights here are long enough to get a bit of a tow along. Hendrickson, I was watching his stream before, Osmia on Twitch, and he was saying that that corner we've just been through at Atwood at turn 4, which of course leads on to the longest straight at Okayama, is of course as a result the most important. Says it's not one of his stronger ones, but the draft now kicking in as Toikala and under brakes, locks up the front right, the inside there into the hairpin there at turn 5, and that might have cost him the 10th that he made up, with Vascalampi now putting all sorts of pressure on the back of his Finnish compatriot, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. Now, I'm just having a quick little look at the second pack here. Kevin Henderson retaking the point of that one. Matt Cox just lost out big time in the hairpin. Went from leading these guys to dropping down to the third in line as John Tanko also moved up, as there's a little bit of contact there in a second tiny hairpin there coming into the final section of corners. These guys starting to get a little bit aggressive now, Alex, and we've still got more than half the race to go.
Yeah, Russell Clark now sitting right in behind Cox, looking to make what he can of the decent position that he's in now in P8, looking to score some SNL points and some championship points on the run down into turn 1. He's got his Team Milo teammate John Scholz tucked in behind him as well. Great showing for the local boys there inside the top 10, with Matt Cox now for Team Torpedo tucked in behind John Tanko, who of course we know made the error earlier on in the race, really showing that he's got some pace. Will he have a look down here into Atwood? Oh, he's showing the nose right late in the braking zone, but nothing but perhaps to unsettle Henderson now with the bent rear wing. Not sure if that's because of Tanko earlier on in the race, or whether he's just had some other incidents along the way. As we see Tanko now pull out to the inside of the hairpin now, deep under brakes. Bit of a lock up on entry again. Very easy to lock up the right front on the braking zone there. And looks at Henderson getting a nice line through these sweeping left-handers at Revolver and Piper. And just settling in there behind Tanko and seeing what he can make of the remainder of the race, Corey.
Well, Hendo is one of the more patient drivers we have, a stalwart of the Skippy Strength of Field racing, one would say, and he definitely knows his way around these tracks. No matter how much the car changes or the tyre model changes, he will always be there or thereabouts. You see, he is settled in for now. He might be waiting for the long straight again to make a move, although he is sitting right up behind that gearbox of Tanko, coming out to try and maybe make a move. Nah, just thinking about it, maybe just trying to make Tanko second guess himself a little bit going into the first corner there, Alex.
Yeah, he's settled in behind now. Kevin's been racing pretty smart lately, if I'm honest. He's sort of picked his moments in more recent times rather than going side by side throughout the race, which is a lot of fun, but not always the quickest way round. But tonight, he's got a dance partner in John Tanko, who's ready to give him a run for his money. As we jump back up front, still about an eighth of a 8/10 of a second gap as between Hendrickson Smith in the front two positions, and now Vascalampi makes a move, perhaps saying to Toy Carla, come on buddy, give me a shot at these blokes. I think I can get on the tail of them rather than sit here on the brink of losing the draft as they head through Piper. On lap 7, they will be halfway through the race this time round. Corey, who's your money on at this stage?
Oh, well, it's going to be very hard for me to not put my money anywhere but Tim Hendrickson's way right here. But Benjamin Smith showing great patience. I think he's looking for every little bit of weakness he sees in Tim Hendrickson's lap times here. So I think I'm going to have to put my money on the AusNZ driver of Benjamin Smith and hope that he can bring it home for our country.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see an ANZ driver take it out first time out. Although, look, I've just spotted Henderson in the pits, missing a front wheel. Now I'm going to go back and, I've just spotted the incident as we check out a replay. It's Tanko coming up behind him into the braking zone at Redmond. Let's just see if this is it. Yeah, he's just picked the rear of him in the braking zone. Bit of net code, and it's Cox has been caught up in that as well. The two Team Milo drivers have just cheerfully wandered by that incident. Henderson spews back onto the track. I tell you what. Boy, and he's picked up Tanko on the way through. I tell you what, there could be more said about. Oh, they've landed on. Who was that? The red car behind. I'll tell you what, there could be more said about that after the race. The stewards might have something to say to the two drivers involved in the most part of that crash. As we go back up the front, we see Hendrickson and Smith still about 8/10 of a second, now 6/10 as Vascalampi says, thank you very much. I'm going to try and get on the back of these three and have a crack at the podium. Toikawa now 8/10 behind Vascalampi, and maybe the lead Team Milo, the driver there, struggling to hang on, Corey.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. I'm not sure whether he might have maybe picked up a little bit of damage somewhere or something. But this is not the Sammy J Toikala that we're used to seeing. Even though he's not using his Sammy J account, I'll still always call him Sammy J. But yeah, he just seems to not quite have the pace of these front three at the moment, which is pretty mind-boggling for me. Usually seeing him, stick in there and always be within the top 2 or 3 positions constantly. But either way, this is going to set up a major battle here between Hendrickson, Smith, and Vascalampi as we come into the closing 5 laps here, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you, I can put it down probably because last season seemed pretty quiet amongst the Skippy community. I mean, we had the season off here, of course, but just more broadly, there seemed to be some greater appeal in some of the other series. But hopefully this time round, and I know there was the Race Spot broadcast last season that kept people interested. Well, hopefully our little broadcast can bring a few people back and enjoy what is one of the best categories, and in my opinion, the best category going around. As I see Ramon now in the pits, I don't know if he's it looks like he might have had an incident here. He's just pulled off to the side there. Let's have a look. He's on his own there into turn 1, and looks like he's just pulled over. Maybe he's had bigger fish to fry than the race here on a Sunday night, because he's pulled over and just hit the eject button. So we'll just hop back up to the front of the pack now. If I can grab a camera, there we go. And we've got Vascalampi now tucked right in behind these lead 3, and Sammy Toikala. Toikala's now 1.2 and off the back here, and I think it's really amongst these 3 for the podium from here on out, Corey.
Well, one thing we do have to remember, Alex, is Tim Hendrickson can be very aggressive with the way that he will defend his lead. So we could end up seeing in the dying few laps here maybe something go wrong between our top three, and Sammy Toykala being in perfect position to try and take advantage of the misfortunes of the people ahead of him. In saying that, Benjamin Smith still looking very aggressive sitting there on the tail of Hendrickson, just taking slightly tighter lines here and there, maybe just to try and psych Tim out a little bit here, Alex.
Yeah, potentially. He's putting all sorts of pressure, but he's not making any moves, and that sort of negates and deflates any pressure that might be building, to be honest. So, I mean, we'll take another look here if we hop on the roll bar here with Ben Smith, and if he doesn't make the move here, there you can hear the lift, and that just takes off all the pressure. It really, really does. And if I hop back to Vascalampi, he's doing similar. He's just tucked in behind. These guys are just waiting for the last couple of laps to have a crack at it here, and they've dropped Toykala even a bit further. He's now about 1.6 seconds off this battle for the podium positions, Corey. And like I said, I think these three will, over the last couple of laps, because it's three of them, I mean, Vascalampi will want to get into P2 to attack P1 on the last lap. And I think the second to last lap, as we see bit of network issues there from Smith. I think the last lap is we'll see Vascalampi make a move, and my theory on this is he'll make the move, Smith might defend, and that might give Hendrickson the chance to skip away. It depends on where it plays out. Does Vascalampi look into turn 1? If he waits till turn 5, it's probably too late because Smith will have the big draft. And you can see even here into turn 1 as they start lap 11 this time round, he's dropped off, and the draft's really keeping Smith on the tail of Hendrickson rather than drawing Vascalampi up, Corey.
Well, I think that might have also been caused a little bit by the network issues that Benjamin Smith was having there at the end of that final lap. Vascalampi just dropped off to this little bit of a gap and just hasn't quite recovered from it yet, but he'll probably get his chance to here on the back straight, because no doubt Benjamin Smith will get right up on Hendrickson's gearbox and start lifting again. It's a not in sight battle just yet. So this will be Vascalampi's chance to try and get back up on the tail of him. And, I would even venture a guess that maybe next lap, if he does get close enough, we could start seeing Vascalampi trying to make a move for that second position.
Yeah, well, it's the wild card in this race compared to the warm-up race that I was watching, and where it was just Smith and Hendrickson. There was no Vascalampi involved, so these three will no doubt fight it out amongst themselves. Now back into P5 and 6, we've got the two-team Milo boys with the owner and founder of Team Milo, Russell Clark, leading his teammate in John Scholz there for 5th and 6th. Team orders, I'm wondering, will come into play there. The 10 and 11 cars, of course, out for some good points here. Good I rating gains as well. Kaikkonen on a battle of 3 here with Saunders and Martinez. Well, there's bits flying everywhere. I think it's just netcode, to be honest. I think the network dropouts are just seeing these cars land a bit funny and bits fly off. And Ben Snell, he's back up into the top 10 after having to pit early on, for what I think. He wasn't stationary for very long. He was only stationary for about 1.4 seconds, so it must have been damage rather than fuel, I must say. And he's got Italiano and Tanko behind him. I tell you what, if Tanko gets anywhere near him in the last couple of laps, or the last lap or so, that could be one to watch, as we see Tanko now tucked in behind Italiano. He'll make the move into turn 1, no doubt. Will he? Oh, he's making a liar of me. Oh, look at the rear of the car.
There was some action in front of them, Alex.
Oh, it is too.
The 16 car of Mikael Kakkonen went around. I'm not sure whether there was contact with the other two drivers that he was racing with, but for now it seems that he has recovered into the 13th position, but under heavy pressure from Nico Cadet.
Yeah, I'm just watching. He's done the same thing as Tanko did early. He just put the rear, outside rear into the dirt, and that was all she wrote. And he's just kept it off the wall, fortunately. And a good rejoin there. Sees no other cars involved. And the racing continues as we jump up back to the front. Hendrickson. Oh, we've missed the overtakes. I tell you what. That'll teach me. We've got Hendrickson now in P3. You got Smith leading us out now, and Vascalampi all over the back of him. This will be the race to watch now as we come down with just 2 laps to go. We see Hendrickson now looking up the inside at turn 1. Can he get past Vascalampi? It looks like it's going to be side by side. Oh, a little bit of echo contact there. The boys will be arguing the toss over that at the end of the race. But I tell you what, it's Smith who's looking good here. He's about 6/10 ahead now. Vascalampi not wanting to give up that second position. Neither Hendrickson. It's Vascalampi. Hendrickson, a little touch again with the echo. The rear of the car steps out there for Hendrickson, just giving him that extra bit of rotation as Vascalampi now tucks in behind once again. It's all happening here, Corey, as we ride on board with Vascalampi on the run down to the hairpin. Hendrickson immediately taking a defensive line. No, has he left the door open this time, Corey?
I'm not sure at all, Alex. It looks like Vascalampi trying to make the move in on the inside. Hendrickson went very deep there to try and block it. Not able to as Vascalampi gets up on his inside. Hendrickson, though, staying with him as they're coming through Revolver, and Vascalampi in the dirt, just about losing the car. And it's definitely starting to turn the wick up. I had a look back at where the overtake was made, Alex. It was in the hairpin on the last lap. Benjamin did a little bit of a motocross-style block pass, which allowed Vascalampi to come up and claim that second position, which led into the action we just saw. But now Hendrickson's got to try and fight his way back as we start heading to the white flag lap to try and get this lead back away from Benjamin Smith. He's got a big uphill battle here right now, Alex.
Absolutely. That battling, as spectacular as it was, is really leading us to that hope that an ANZ driver will sit on top of the podium for round 1 of season 19 of Sunday Night Lights, as we see Smith come into turn 1 ahead of the Dutchman and Hendrickson and the Finnish driver of Vascalampi. Now, Hendrickson is some 7/10 behind. Vascalampi backed off a bit, about half a second. I think they're too far apart for any positions to change hands here in this final lap, and it looks like Smith is, look, I'll tell you what, Hendrickson caught him 2/10 in that first sector as they exit through Atwood now. It looks like he might be in with a shot here. Let's see, let's hop on board and see what it looks like. I think he's a bit far back, Corey, if I'm honest. I don't think there's any move there for him.
I don't think there will be as well. Benjamin seems to be one of the latest of the late breakers, as we could see there in the hairpin. Unable to close too much onto him was Hendrickson, but there is still a gap being closed there. Gained about 4/10 as they were coming through the hairpin, but I think that might have been Benjamin Smith just making sure he took it a little bit easy so he didn't give up too much ground, Alex.
Oh, I thought here might be the final chance there at Redmond, but no, he's right up here. Takes the wide entry into turn 9 there. At Hobbs now coming through to Michael Knight corner. Flat in third gear through here. Does he hold third? Yes, he does. No, into fourth. Oh, he's got a good exit there, but is it good enough? Oh, I think that'll undo the little wiggle on the exit, and I think you'll find it will be Ben Smith taking round 1 of Sunday Night Lights for season 19 in a great drive. Very patient there, Corey. Found his way to the line when a few others were dropping away, as we see Clark and Scholz. Speaking of blown engines, as there was some in the chat, Scott's letting his go, as does Clark as they cross the line. Saunders now on the front of a 3-car pack in Burgess and Snell, who's got up to P9. Great drive from Snell after pitting early. Tanko having an adventurous opening foray into Sunday Night Lights, finishing inside the top 10 as the rest of the field rounds out what was a fun race to open the season, Corey.
Indeed it was, Alex. I knew that when we come back to our broadcasting ways that the action was going to be absolutely frenetic, and it definitely did not prove us wrong. I would strongly suggest you go back and have a look at the pass for the lead, because it was definitely one to watch. It was a very well executed motocross style block pass from Benjamin Smith. And the way that he pulled it off was with absolute precision so that Vascalampi could be a car in between himself and Tim. without compromising his own lead there, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've just popped back to that lap now, and you can see the three of them were nose to tail, as we'd more or less become accustomed to. Why don't we see what Vascalampi saw during that position? Now they're coming down into, as we've mentioned, the most important corner on the track, leading onto the longest straight at Atwood. We see Vascalampi get a good run, and it was that sort of two and a half laps to go where the move started happening as we kind of predicted. And we'll hop back into the TV camera here to see what actually happened. As you say, Smith pulls out. Does Vascalampi duck underneath in the gap? Bit of a lock up. Yes, he does. Beautiful move there. Vascalampi, really good judgment there. He was side by side, trying to compromise the run of Smith, and all he did was really run a bit wide and open the door for Hendrickson to come back in. And that was the critical moment. I think, I tell you what, a couple of moves there on the straight. Another one to have a look at after the race, perhaps between the gents having a conversation, and then he left the door open and Hendrickson's poked the nose up the inside. That's about where we joined them, and it was side by side for much of the ensuing lap, where we saw the boys really lose touch with Smith enough for him to skip away and take the win, Corey.
And indeed, it was quite an incredible move and just an incredible race all round. Most of the drivers showing a lot of respect to each other. Not too many incidents that we have to talk about. And at the end of the day, we saw a lot of action there in those dying laps, and it was amazing to sit here and watch it and call it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great time. Good night out for our first round. And let's take a look at our finishing positions for round one at Okayama. For season 19 of Sunday Night Lights, Benjamin Smith from ANZ taking the top step on the podium. Great start to the season for the ANZ club, and hopefully we'll see a bit more of Smith throughout the season. Tim Hendrickson for Team Torpedo, just 2/10 behind. Really stuck it to him at the final stages, but it's really tough to get past if you don't sort of start your manoeuvring into that the hairpin at turn 5. Tough to get it done through the remainder of the circuit if you're not close enough, particularly. Team of Vascalampi there, finished driver in P3. P4 tonight went to Team Milo in Sammy Toykala, followed by two of his teammates, Russell Clark and John Scholtz for ANZ and Team Milo. It's a Milo sandwich there. The three drivers finishing in order. P7 tonight went to Philip Saunders, who I don't recall being in Sunday Night Lights before, but a great entry to him, finishing with a top 10. Victor Martinez Burgos from Iberia, the leading Iberian driver here in P8. The final Team Milo driver in Ben Snell. After pitting early, he's finished where he started in P9. John Tanko, his first run in Sunday Night Lights tonight, finished in P10 after quite an adventurous race. Tristan Italiano from ANZ in P11. Francisco Peinado from Iberia in P12. As we switch over the page, Mikhail Kaikkonen from Finland in P13. Nico Cadet from Iberia in P14. Enzo Kanda for Thrustmaster Mivano Racing in P15 on his return to Sunday Night Lights. Matt Cox for Team Torpedo in P16. Borja Cortez in 17th for Iberia. Alejandro Ramon in P18 for Iberia. And Kevin Henderson, after his unfortunate run here tonight, in P19. The strength of field, of course, 31.19. And Vascalampi with the fastest lap of a 1:42.3. Corey, I've got to tell you, that's pretty quick, and it doesn't entirely surprise me because he was able to bridge that gap between himself and the front two. Looked like fairly comfortably, I have to say.
Yeah, I believe that that was one of the laps where he had just passed Sammy Toykala there and was just trying to catch up to those front two, pushing the limits as hard as he could. It's an amazing lap nonetheless. And, it's great to see Vascalampi get up there and take the honours of the fastest lap in the first round back after our break.
Yeah, absolutely, Corey. It is, and I'm just going to start saying we've got a few of the cheapest. We've got a few in the green room already. Let's commence things off with our race winner here tonight. If I can just grab the right angle there. Ben Smith, fantastic opening to the Skip Barber and the Sunday Night Lights season here tonight. He's run around in second and then strategically grabbed the win at the end there, Ben. How did the race unfold for you tonight?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Did the race previous and got to go head to head with Tim there as a bit of a practice before the big finale. So learned a bit from that. Didn't think I'd be able to get it done on the last lap. He's just that quick. But yeah, saw Timu I think was coming up behind us, and when he got on the back of our draft, I just thought I'd send it and see what happens.
Yeah, mate. Well, it worked. It was a beautiful pass into turn 5 there. And Vascalampi, of course, poking the nose through to try and follow you through there. That really unsettled the two behind as they raced and jockeyed for that position to have a shot at you, and they were sort of closing 2 laps. And that was enough to get you the gap to hold them off in the end, mate. That's a great start to the season. And you're planning on joining us here, hopefully, a few more times during the year?
Yeah, definitely when work lines up. It's pretty rare I get a Monday night off or a Tuesday morning off. So yeah, just we'll get in when I can, and hopefully we'll have a Evolution Racing team skin on the car soon. We just got a new sponsor, Panther Fuel. So as soon as that's good to go, then I'll get in as many races as I can.
Beautiful. Well, great to have ERT represented on the grid here tonight, and I'll make sure I'll update the overlays as well to make sure the team name's on there, mate. But speaking of which, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight to celebrate your victory?
It's just been good getting back into it. Shout out to all the boys at Evolution Racing Team. They're always good to hang around with, good to talk to. So yeah, and thanks to my missus who's probably sleeping and getting mad at me for talking. So I'm going to head off now. Thanks, guys.
Beautiful. Thanks, Ben. Mate, congratulations on the win, and we look forward to seeing you at some stage through the season.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
There you go, Corey, one of the strongest teams running around in ERT, Evolution Racing Team. Great to see Ben Smith showing us how it's done tonight, the first race of the season.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. And what a strong showing it was. And he seems like an incredibly humble guy as well. Softly spoken, of course, because his wife is in bed. But, you know, his actions on track definitely spoke much louder than his words did, Alex.
Yeah, it was a great job indeed. Speaking of great jobs, we've got Team Torpedo's own Tim Hendrickson, who's come back and joined us again for the first round of the season. He stuck it on pole and nearly had it on the top step as well at the end there, mate.
Hey, I got it. That's all I can really say about it. I had the pace. I'm pretty sure I was the fastest man on track. It's just, racing. I can see what team he was going for. I'm just a bit gutted that it cost me the victory.
Yeah, it looked like Vascalampi was having trying to follow Smith through there at the hairpin, and then the battle that ensued between the two, it just gave Smith that break he needed to get away and hang on there at the end.
Pretty much, yeah. The hairpin, he probably made a mistake there. He went wide, so because I didn't really want to die, I could have killed him if I wanted to, but I decided to turn away and brake for a bit to at least, give us our lives, which of course cost me 2 positions, but I thought it was recoverable with a few laps to go. And then Timu started fighting really hard, and he just kind of slipped out of my feet.
Yeah, well, Smith's pretty handy behind the wheel, so hopefully he'll be up there in the coming weeks along with yourself to really have a crack at putting on some more good racing. It was pretty quiet there for the most part, and then when the final laps came to be counted, it was a pretty good show, I thought. There was a little bit of contact here and there, but it was only really netcode, I thought. Otherwise, I thought it was pretty straightforward, but hopefully the tracks in the coming weeks will bring out the good racing as well.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know, mate. We'll have to see what happens. But anyway, mate, before
have you seen the schedule?
Yeah, we'll see how we go. I have seen the schedule. We've got Catalonia next week, which will be interesting, particularly, hopefully they fix those big curbs. But anyway, Tim, mate, thanks for joining us here tonight, mate. Congrats on the podium. And anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Oh, first of all, you guys, of course, for putting on the broadcast again. I've missed you guys. I really have. And of course, my fantastic team, Team Torpedo, and Matt Cox for bringing the emotional support during the race, even though he had a quite a bad one.
Yeah, look, it was great to see Mr. Cox out there. Good to see a couple of Team Torpedo fellas out there, and thanks for your support, mate. So, look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks.
Bye.
There you go, Corey, Team Torpedo's Tim Hendrickson, who's pretty handy behind one of these, and showed that again here tonight.
Exactly right, Alex. And he's always a character to have in for an interview as well. Definitely some of the funnier interviews that we always do is one with Tim Hendrickson. But, with how serious he gets on track, it's understandable how goofy and fun he can be here in the interview booth, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, next up we have we've had all the podium here tonight, which is good. We've got Mr. Vascalampi. Timu, welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth, mate. You got a podium here tonight. You gave it every crack there at the end, and but still, P3 is a great start to the season.
Yeah, hello Alex and Corey. Start of the race. Sami tried to do his best to lose Tim and Benjamin. I had to pass him. It was just a matter of time. He was been playing other games for lately and he was struggling a lot. But yeah, it was very hard to catch them. Anyways, even I was still in draft. Team has very good pace. Tried to go for the win at the end, but then I end up fighting with Team for P2, and I was just okay. If I can't win this, then Team can't either. So that's awful, really.
Yeah, fair enough. I thought it was a good strategy there, looking up the inside of the hairpin. I think it was 3 laps from the end. I also thought you did a great job in bridging the gap. I know you still had draft, but as you say, the pace was pretty hot up front. So even just cracking it there to get back on and in amongst it was a great effort, mate. As was finishing third here tonight in the season opener. So thank you for joining us, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just you guys and Skippy community.
Beautiful. Thanks, Timo, mate. Thank you also. For those who don't know, Timo will be doing the scoring for us this year, which is very much appreciated. It helps keep the series going, and thank you again, Timo.
Yeah, I'm thinking about special scoring system by taking minus 20 points to team every week. What do you think about that?
Well, that's one strategy, I suppose, but we'll see. See that puts him behind the 8 ball, I'd suggest, but maybe that's what he needs to bring him back to the field, eh?
Yeah, but yeah, see you next week.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, Corey, Mr. Vascalampi, he sounded like he had a good crack tonight and might have even enjoyed it along the way.
Yeah, I think I could almost hear him crack a smile there in the interview. Definitely trying to block Tim from trying to get back to the lead. It was an incredible fight between him and Tim when he was able to have that little bit of a battle. And, if the planets had aligned for him, he had every chance to try and take that second place away. Just unfortunately did not unfold that way for him here tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Well, still plenty of rounds to come, and I'm sure he'll be having a crack like that each and every week. Now, speaking of having a crack, let's bring up Mr. Ben Snell, who's going to solve for us the mystery of what the pit stop was about, Ben.
Hello, gentlemen. How are we tonight?
Yeah, going well, mate. I saw the early stop. I thought fuel, and then I thought, no, you're only stationary for about 1.4 seconds. You must have picked up a bit of damage.
Yeah, it all started when I bombed my second lap, as I'm well known to do. So instead of starting third, I started ninth. And then I had a little whoopsie coming into turn 5, I think it is, like the uphill sweeper. And just got a bit of a slide on. Unfortunately, Matt was behind me, had nowhere to go. And I think it was net code contact because it looked like he managed to carry on, but I got a meatball out of it. So I had to jump into the pits and sort that out.
Yeah, that doesn't help you running. Oh, and hang on, it's going to tell me it's gone live now, but it hasn't. But anyway, yeah, look, that doesn't help, mate. I figured you must have picked up a little bit of damage around, but still, managing to go from, I think it was almost last place back to ninth is a fair drive on the night, mate.
Oh, I definitely can't complain about getting back in the points. I was very highly considering just pulling the car over and parking it up, but I decided to press on and see if I could get back into the points at least. So unfortunately for others, but fortunately for myself, there was a fair bit of carnage going on, which of course helped with all of Team Milo managing to keep their noses clean and finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
So pretty stoked with that.
Yeah, I got to say that it's a great result for Team Milo, and we'd have to start thinking about a team championship here. I think if this is going to keep up, because that way at least an ANZ team would win something, right? We got all these strong international drivers here. Although to be fair, ANZ on top of the pops for the first week is a great start to the season. Hopefully, we can build on that and continue in that fashion, mate.
Yeah, exactly right. It was great to see Benjamin Smith jump in as well. Out of the tin tops into a skippy and show him why he's got bloody 6K I rate.
Yeah, well, that's right. I think he used to have a black licence too, so it's pretty handy, and great to see one of the Evolution Racing Team guys out there on track tonight. But listen, thanks for joining us again, mate. Really do appreciate your support. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
First of all, big shout out to you guys. After a season off, it's great to jump back into the skip. I had a bit of a break myself, so it's good to see the broadcast back in 6 or 7 splits or something for the first round. It's absolutely crazy. And of course, big shout out to Team.
Yeah, go Team Milo indeed. Thanks, Ben. And we do enjoy the patronage that we saw here tonight, and hopefully it continues. So thanks again, mate. We'll talk to you in the coming weeks.
See you guys.
There you go, Corey. Team Milo's Ben Snell. Great to see him back on track. Like a couple of us out here on track tonight and in the booth, probably a bit rusty, but hopefully bigger and better things ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. And I think he might have actually blown the rust off a bit there. Just having a look at the times here, and Ben achieved his fastest lap on the final lap there, a 1:42.8, which is definitely nothing to sneeze at. And it makes me ponder what would have happened if he did not get that meatball. He was definitely on it and absolutely flying back towards the front of the pack there, Alex.
Yeah, and even more if he hadn't bombed quali, but it wouldn't be a Ben Snell race without a bit of excitement. But speaking of a bit of excitement, let's bring up Team Ivano's Enzo Cantor. Welcome back, Enzo. Great to see you back on track. Not the race you would have liked, though.
Hi guys, yes, surely not the race I would expect. But I was the important thing for me was to come back here in the series in the first race of the season in Sunday Lights because of my 2 championships won in the past. So I will try to join the season again, even if it will be not so easy to win it again. Not a very good qualifying, some mistakes, but I was confident to stay with the first 4 drivers till the end in order to battle for the podium. Because I was sure I was able to get my fastest pace during the race. But I have to slow a little bit more in the first hard braking zone after the back straight in order to not tap from behind Timo. And John tapped me from behind a little bit, not so much, but it was enough to damage my rear wing and probably my rear right suspension a little bit. And then added with the cold tires made me lose the car in the next corner. So I wait to let pass all the train of the cars in order to avoid any other contacts, and then try to recover. The car was almost fine, and I tried to recover, but then I had some little contact with Tristan Italiano, not very clean, I think. The second one in particular, but well, I'm not so angry. I'm happy because I'm here.
Beautiful. Glad to hear it, mate. Well, we're happy to have you here as well. And hopefully you, along with several others, were able to blow a few cobwebs out tonight and get fresh and ready for the remainder of what we hope will be a big Skippy season ahead, mate. So thank you very much for joining us all the way from Italy, and anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight.
Yeah, always. I have to have a shout out to all the medics in Italy in this moment because, as you know, here we are really in an emergency for the coronavirus virus contamination. So we are all forced in our houses. We cannot go outside, and in the hospitals, all the medics are doing fantastic work to try to save the most lives as possible. And then my team, Mivano, my team manager Fabio Mantellini, and you always, because you are always there, and you do every time an awesome work as always. So for me, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Great, thank you very much, Enzo. Really do appreciate your support of the series, and also our thoughts certainly go out to our friends in Italy who have got it pretty tough at the moment, probably right at the front lines of this crisis around the world. But hopefully, Enzo, you and yours, along with so many other Italians, will stay safe. So thank you very much for joining us, Enzo, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you again in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I will try. I will try because I have no. I cannot go outside, so I have to do something in my house.
So, well, that's something at least, I suppose. All right, mate. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, see ya. Thank you. So.
There you go, Corey. It's a bit of an insight into, what's going on the other side of the world. We have heard, of course, that Italy's one of the places that's been hardest hit. And, perhaps and hopefully not something that we've got to look forward to, but the joint's in lockdown, and that's one way to hopefully put a stem on it. But, of course, the racing here tonight was what it was all about, and what better way to spend a bit of lockdown than out on the track in a skippy, Corey?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, Alex. And depending on how long Italy's going to be locked down for, Enzo's going to have a lot of time on his hands with not much to do. So he could come quite proficient at driving these things around any track that we got this season. And we could actually end up seeing Enzo maybe battling up towards the top and giving Tim and even Benjamin Smith on the weeks that he is here racing with us a decent run for their money. And, again, shout out to just all the people in the medicine fields across the entire world. They're doing a stand up effort right now to try and stem this coronavirus, and hopefully, we can get a breakthrough here soon, and not have to worry about it again, because it's definitely truly devastating. I think Italy's the number 2 highest affected in the world, which is absolutely tragic. And thoughts and prayers to everyone out there who is affected by coronavirus, and hopefully, everything can return back to normal within the next couple of weeks, Alex.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be a good outcome, mate, and hopefully that's the way it goes. But for now, we'll focus on the on-track stuff, which of course we will be back next week, coming to you live and exclusive on Top Split TV. Let me just pull this stuff up. There we go. It's been a while. I'm not even sure it's all still correct. I'll have to get in there and do some stuff over the coming weeks, I suggest. But yeah, this race will be uploaded onto the Top Split YouTube channel. Join us in the Discord. The link there is on your screen where you can find us. The podcast is still there, although it's pretty dead at the moment. We'll have to have a think about that. Top Split on Facebook. Here, I'll be doing my racing as per usual now that we're back into it on Top Split TV. AJ is thinking about streaming as well. And Corey, tell us what's going on in your week this week.
I don't actually have too terribly much going on this week. We might attempt to do a couple of the NASCAR iRacing Series races both tomorrow and Friday. We'll see how we go. You can also catch me over at the twitch.tv/Aussie_sim_commentator channel for round number, God, we must be at round 5 or 6 for the Output Racing League live from the, I can't even think of the track right now. Homestead, Miami. That's right. Homestead, Miami in the A Oval cars right there for Output Racing League. Yeah. That's all I got, Alex.
Beautiful. All right, mate. Well, if we don't see you before, folks, we hope to see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. But until then, I should say, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and on behalf of the chaotic one, Corey Steinhauser, I will say good night. Thank you for joining us, and ciao for now.